Hello, I'm back. Hello, what is up? Happy hump day. Happy hump day. Can you guys see me? Can you hear me? Are we good? Hello. Hello, hello. Hello, welcome. Let me see. Who's here? 𝗃𝐶, Irony, what's up? Shout out to all the mods. I saw Patty in here, Junior. Thomas, Marcus B. Hello, welcome. Thank you for being here. We are going to be covering Richard Allen interview. Yes, happy hump day. Happy hump day. I'm trying to get back on schedule. I've been so busy, but I'm trying to get back on. There's a lot I want to cover, and this is definitely something I want to cover. I have not covered this case before, which I'm a little surprised about because we cover a lot of true crime here, but all true crime. It's a true crime channel, but Richard Allen, Delphi murders, Abby and Libby. February 2017, they were allegedly murdered by Richard Allen, and we know, if you have been following the case, the trial was wild. He is not mentally well, I don't think, in my opinion. There's a lot I have to say about that. So we're going to start with the recent interviews that Tom Webster has on his channel. I'm going to link him down below in the description, and he is in my banner as well. He was able to get these interviews, and we're going to start the interviews, and then this week, the rest of the week, we're going to probably cover this case amongst other things. But anyways, welcome. Hi, my name is Melly. Thank you for being here. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Thomas. Okay, let's get started. We're going to, like I said, Tom Webster has this interview. We're going to watch it together. There's 2 parts and then some phone calls. So we're going to do 1 part tonight, and then another part maybe tomorrow night or Friday night, depending on what I want to cover. There's a lot of cases I want to cover, so we'll see. And thank you for being here. Let's get started. I know this case is very controversial. I have not followed it, to be honest, so I'm not going to be the best with facts of the case, but I do know that I did watch some of the trial. I do know a lot of it, and I have my opinions about this case, but I definitely want to read into the docs and deep dive it. So we're probably going to do that maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday, depending on what I want to do. So we'll see. But definitely like, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. I've missed being live. Thank you for being here. Let's get started on the interview. Let me make sure you can hear it and see it. This is from October 13th, 2022.
Yeah, great. See you later, Richard. Thank you. I gave you one of my cards. There it is. I gave it. I think you did. I'll step down. So the reason we wanted to talk to you is about the 𝗟𝗲𝗃𝗲 case. Okay. I appreciate your time in doing that. And as a formality, before we talk to anybody about these things, I want to make sure you understand you're not under arrest or anything like that, okay? And the door here is open. You can leave anytime you want. I'll be glad to give you a ride back or whatever. So, but we need to make sure.
And let me know what you think about this case, and if you think he's actually guilty, if there was others involved. You know, the whole laying of the bodies, all of that I know is pretty controversial. So let me know what you think.
We go cover a formality here, and let me get to the page here where it's this is a Miranda warning. So before we ask any questions, you understand your rights to the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be
right. So different.
Have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask any questions, and have with you during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer,
nothing like he looks like in those jail pictures and trial stuff, right? It's brutal.
We'll be waiting for your question if you wish. If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you have the right to stop answering anytime. You also have the right to stop answering anytime you talk to a lawyer. Like I said, you're not under arrest, so just want to make sure you understand those rights.
Hey, Kay.
It says I read the statement of our rights, and there's our rights.
Hi, Kay. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Happy hump day. We're covering Richard Allen. I'm sure you're familiar with the case.
I do not want a lawyer at this time, and I understand what I am doing. no promises or threats to them.
Hi, Natasha.
Occurs many times can be used.
Good to see you, girl.
If you'd be willing to talk with us, or just if you understand your rights, we just need your signature that we chart. Okay. Okay. Well, this is a formality we take.
Irony, hi.
We're just going back to the beginning of the case, and we know you had talked to Lieutenant Doolin. We just want to figure out what you saw when you were out there before.
Do you guys think he was saying like, go to the bridge or whatever it is that he said? I can't remember the exact phrase. Or was it put the phone away? I always thought that was too, or something like that.
Great, wonderful. Okay. Now, Kelly brought up something that
Thanks,
you had
done
when initially you had talked to Lieutenant Doolin, and according to Lieutenant Doolin, the information he got to you was that you were on the trail between 1:30 and 3:30. Does it make any sense? Okay. And that you had parked at the old Farm Bureau building. I think that may have been the old welfare office out there. Well, while at the Freedom Bridge, you saw 3 females and noted that one was taller and had black or brown long hair.
And also, like, what do you think? Do you think he did it and it was just plain cold murder? Do you think that, like, there's like a whole ritualistic thing going on? Let me know.
This is basically what he had written down. Okay. And maybe even got some information about your phone or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great. So now you understand everything. So I want to make sure that we just kind of get some information from you and we get started here.
Wild.
Off the bat with today's date, which is
I agree,
Thursday.
Natasha.
And today is 10/13 of 22. What time do you have, Tony? It's 11:15. 10:45. And your full name is?
Richard.
H-A-R-D.
Matthew.
That's A-L-L-E-N. Okay, and how old are you now?
50 years old.
Okay. Your date of birth?
99/72.
Okay, great.
So the crime happened in February 13th of 2017, I believe, and this is on October 13th. Also, like, I know it's super controversial because, like, the whole police situation with him being in jail and, like, him not being treated appropriately and violating his rights. There's also that, which we've seen, like 𝗵𝐵 said earlier, he looks so different now. We're going to hear the jail calls too, where he like confesses. And that's also something, I don't know. Was it just Richard Allen alone, or did other people partake in this?
Can I ask you to write down the X? Is that right there?
No. I didn't mod for law and crime. I modded for Vinny Politan.
I'm beyond that, actually. So
Maybe that's what you mean.
I think already hard to believe. And do you know your driver's license number off the top of your head?
No.
Don't worry about it. The home address, I didn't get it when I was out there. What is it?
1967. White Man Drive.
Okay. And the phone number you can be contacted at?
317-612-4533.
Did you have water? I got one right here, John. Oh, okay, sure. I'll be right back. And
This is
do you
wild.
have any of their cell phone numbers that you can be contacted by?
I got my wife's number.
Okay, what is her phone number?
317-612-4753. Never dial numbers anymore.
You know, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, okay. And how long have
Need
you
to read
had
the
that
docs.
phone number that's your 317 number?
I believe I got it when I worked at Indy, so it would have been prior to 2006.
Okay.
Because it's an Indy number.
Okay. Okay. So Let's see.
He's so casual
can I ask
about
what
it.
kind of phone you have?
It's an Android, a Google.
Wasn't he like working at a pharmacy or something like that? Correct me if I'm wrong. He is so casual about it. I do think he's responsible for it. This is just my opinion too, by the way. No legal advice. I'm just reporting on the crime from what we get on the media and throughout the media. I don't know. I don't think he was the only one. Always a stare off into the scene to think of next minutes. He looked like he could be one of the cops, right? He like brutally murdered them too, allegedly.
Okay. Yeah. What's your email address?
𝗟𝗲𝗃2045 @frontier.com.
Do you have any other email addresses? I know a couple myself, so I asked.
Yeah.
Abby was 13 and Libby was 14. If you don't know about the case, they went missing when they went on a hike, and the crime allegedly, they caught a Snapchat at the bridge. Monon Bridge? I'm not sure what it's called.
It's
I'll talk to
𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿 FOOJACKA 0 @gmail.com. And I had one on Yahoo at some point too, but I don't remember what it was.
I don't necessarily think he was like,
Okay, great. On social
yeah, he
media,
do. I do believe so. He became the number one suspect, right?
Facebook, at all. Do you have a Facebook account?
Well, my wife does. I don't.
Yeah. One of the girls, I can't remember who caught the video, him on the bridge saying something about the bridge, and it was caught on Snapchat. Wow. Used to love Snapchat.
Okay.
Yes, my
And
God.
does she post often? Things like
She's,
on there all the time?
and she does.
Okay, all right. So what is your marital status? Married, okay. And have you been married
I think
before?
it was
No.
Abby's phone.
Number of children you were talking about your kids.
And it was said down the hill. I believe is what it was, down the hill. Oh yeah.
What's your name again?
Rick.
Yeah, down the hill.
Oh, my daughter, Rick Jr. No, 𝐵RITTANY.
Okay. And how old is Brittany now, you said?
We're going to read the docs.
28,
28, okay.
So we get all the
When, you said?
1994.
4, okay. And what's your last name now?
𝗟𝗲𝗃𝗲.
Down the road.
Okay.
I didn't even know exactly what it is. I thought it was down the bridge or
grandkids?
something.
No.
Okay. And what's her husband's name? Is he from around here?
He's originally from the Philippines,
Oh, okay.
but lived in Canada.
They're asking
And
you all
he's
these
been here,
questions.
um,
I would have just
Shortly
asked
before they got
more.
married, so around 16, maybe 15, 16.
Okay.
I don't know. They got married at 17.
What's his name?
Paulo, PAULO.
Okay. PAULL. Oh, I put another one.
PAULO.
I got it. Okay. All right. So, but he lived here for a while. So I never, since the Panthers being around here.
Not around here.
Not around here?
No.
Maybe somebody else.
He was already up in Napanee when she met him.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Graduated from high school. We're at
North Miami.
Tom Webster got this content. Which is
year.
91.
Okay. And any other vocational training, college classes?
Went to Ivy Tech, like a couple semesters.
What'd you study there?
Accounting.
Okay. Any other vocational training or? Okay.
Well, I was in the military, but
Oh, okay, that's the question coming up here.
Oh, I
Did you
forget he was in the
were
military.
you involved in any fraternal organizations, clubs, or athletics, or anything like that in school?
I did some track here and there. I did football for like a year, but nothing serious.
Okay.
Hi, Lily. I
Any
miss
clubs
you.
or National Honor Society or something like that?
Oh, no.
Sorry. Military service, so what branch?
National Guard, Army National Guard.
I didn't know that he was in the military. Does that change my opinion? Slightly.
And
Tiny little
what
bit.
highest rank achieved?
E5.
Not that I think
Sergeant.
people in the military are bad, but I think
Okay, mostly
psychologically
around,
it's definitely
uh,
different.
here? Or
No, it was in, I was born right, well, not born, but I lived in Mexico most of my life.
Mexico, like in
Indiana.
Indiana, like in America.
Yeah.
Okay.
You always get that.
Like mine?
Yeah, Mexico, Clearly, Denver. Yeah.
Okay, all
It was
right.
Mexico.
Yeah, okay.
But it was Peru was where I was in the National Guard at, sorry.
All right. Go to church anywhere?
No.
Have you ever?
Church.
On occasion.
They're really asking him a lot of
Okay.
questions.
Where did you usually go to? Any place around
I
here?
don't even know. No, not around here.
Okay. Parents go to church, or did they take you to church? I don't get that.
No, my grandparents went to church. My parents didn't.
Oh, I see. Okay. Any criminal history? You've been arrested for anything? Any medical problems, heart trouble, high blood pressure, psychological disorders?
Oh, yeah. Did everything.
Okay.
I've had a heart attack. I've got a couple stents.
Okay.
And,
I don't know. Y'all really believe he acted alone? I don't know. I have a feeling. No. I don't know why I've always had a feeling about that kid. This kid.
How long ago was your heart attack?
2010.
Okay, you were 40.
37.
Holy cow. Mm-hmm. And, anything else?
Depression, anxiety, high blood pressure, cholesterol.
Cut no smoky. Yeah.
And you're working at CVS.
Oh, it's CVS. Yeah. He's
So
yes.
you said you've been there how many years?
Pharmacy, right? I know.
Since, well, not the one here, but with CBS since 2013.
Okay. So you worked at another CVS somewhere?
Yeah, I worked in training Marion. I worked in Peru. And
I worked for CVS too.
then I came to
Like-
Delphi. I'm thinking 16,
Couple years.
17, 16.
Like 2 years.
Been there a while now.
But you said you lived at your house out there since 2000. So you drive back and forth with other CVS?
Yeah, I was leading Walmart. Like I said, I spent 10 years with Walmart. I was actually a store manager at one point with Walmart. Chose to leave the company and do something different, and interviewed with CVS, and Peru was the district manager that I interviewed with. Peru was the furthest western store that he had, or closest to me.
Mhm.
So that's where I was going to be working, and it just didn't work out the way that I thought it was long term. I mean, I was there several years, but I wanted to have a training position, a managerial training position. I told them I didn't want to do that anymore. Long story short, and put in the transfer back, and
He's seen how unmentally well he is. We'll probably cover it here. Well, or how physically he did not look good in the pictures. And I'm assuming at some of the hearings, but in the trial, but he got like 130 years. I mean,
like I said, I'm 16.
how did they do that? It's like obviously
Gonna say
he
around
might not make it to
16,
130 years.
17 somewhere.
Well,
It's like 17 days of testimony.
It's
If
kind
I'm
of hard sometimes, I understand. Is there a particular reason why you didn't stay in management, or?
Tired of it, the bureaucracy.
and it was a brutal crime. Do we wonder what else he's done? Has he had some sort of involvement in violence and crime before that was not known of obviously.
Not really being about taking care of the customer. It's more about hitting this number on this spreadsheet and that number on that spreadsheet. And then you get the call every 15 minutes. If you didn't hit this number on this spreadsheet. None of them really help you take better care of the customer. I mean, you spend your time managing scorecards, and I just had had enough of it. Sure. I was just tired of it.
Sure. Okay. Let's see. So from where we're at right now, I think probably, can you help us understand?
And there was a lot of, I believe there is a lot of lack of transparency within, like, with this case. I do. There's no media in the courtroom. There was like a 2-year gag order on the family, the investigators, the prosecutors, none on the defense. And there was like a major lack of information. I don't know. My opinions about this, but we're going to watch this and then read the docs. We're going to deep dive it.
What was going on Monday, February the 13th? Can you kind of tell us what you were doing that day and every day the girls on the trail?
Okay.
Yeah.
I went over to my mom's in Peru, Mexico, earlier in the day. I think my mom had hip surgery back then or something, but regardless, my wife was working, so I went over there and spent the day, not the day, I spent the morning with them. My sisters come over and they were going to go eat lunch and stuff.
Yes, to see.
About that, so I went home.
Peep the new emojis too, the buzz balls. If you watch Melly After Dark, we do that for fun on the weekends. Well, not just the weekends, but we have a little fun there. But it's a little different than the true crime lives we do. So make sure you tune in, subscribe. Those are members only. When I stream, it's not members only, but then it goes members only. And yes, the buzz balls. Those are awesome emojis, right? Are you loving them?
And I remember it was a fairly warm day, or warmer than normal, so.
No hot dogs, please. No hot dogs. No dogs.
And
No
went
dogs.
back out to the
No
trails.
sausages, please.
Usually we had when we go, we walk down the high
take the balls.
bridge and walk back and walk down the other side and come back. I mean, it wasn't a ritual, but I remember walking down to the bridge.
The bridge.
The times, I left my mom's, it was probably around 11:15. So I think I would have been out there, because I didn't do anything else. It would have been around noon, I thought, is when I was out there. Walked down to High Bridge. Always went out just a little ways, not all the way. Went out a little ways and watched the fish. See if I see any fish down there, because I like fishing, and walk back and sit on the, when you turn around and go down the other fork, there's a bench that overlooks, and sat there for a few minutes and walked down walked back out and left.
Okay. Anything else you remember? Where was your first apartment?
This is wild. They're out.
There was
Tom Webster got the content.
the big parking lot wasn't there at the time, right?
Oh, you mean which one? Was
Like where the bridge is at. I don't think it was there. So there's if you went over behind
Tonight, ooh, don't tap me. Don't tap me. Hey, Dodge.
there's a back road that went up, and there was a bridge, not the main bridge. There was a smaller bridge where you could park there, or you could park over on the other side. And I remember I didn't park over there where it's a farmer's entrance or something. I remember I didn't park there because I had told him something about there were a couple vehicles there when I left, so I parked somewhere, either parked over on the bridge side, or there used to be a little building there. I could have parked there. There was a trail. Until they got the whole thing done.
This is important.
Okay.
When you're talking about the bridge, just so I'm clear, you're talking about that big blue bridge, the Freedom Bridge or whatever that goes over the highway. Well, that's the big blue bridge, but before that was there was if you're going out of
I was like doing like some deep diving already because we're going to do another live on this, but it was like I believe he take him? They were walking and I believe there was a GUN involved, that he maybe threatened them, and then they had to take off all their clothes. One of them was found naked in these odd positions in the trees. Very dark.
town, you would take the road that I think is where the park is. It veers off, it widens off this way, and there's
the wrong guy or the right guy?
Well, I don't know, it's the first road, but there's a road that takes off to the right, and there's houses, and then it just kind of turns into a lane, and there's a small bridge up there.
Something about this case bothers me. I will just be honest. This is where due commentary and reaction to this, but I'm on the fence about this one. I really am. He confessed, but I know how the system works. We all know from watching a lot of true crime. So we'll see.
I mean, I think it's still there if you were like the one. Okay, so you're talking about the one-lane bridge, kind of that goes up the street. It wasn't used. It wasn't a bridge that was used, I guess is what I'm saying. It was just, there was a parking area up there that you could park in. Okay. And that's where people use, that's where quite a few people would park before they, I mean, now there's a nice parking space, but before it was either you parked there or you parked over in the farmer's thing. And I mean, at one point they had it marked that they didn't.
I don't believe they were seeking the death penalty for this. I don't believe so. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Once you park in there, so it, and I know it wasn't over there.
Sounds like a payoff.
Something about some cars.
We're going to deep dive it, and I have questions about the mayor, the police department. There's a lot. There's a lot. Indiana. Oh, they do. I don't think it was given.
So this is kind of an overview of the area. So obviously this is the Blue Bridge.
I don't think they were
seeking
it.
Highway. Okay. Yeah. And so yeah, can you mark on where you can be parked at? Good.
Show me the Blue Bridge again.
Blue Bridge, here's your Heartland Highway. Here's Main Street. The road that comes out from downtown goes out onto Heartland. And here's the Andersons. I think that's going to be their fertilizer plant. And down there's the,
oh, that's the Blue Bridge. I mean, it's right there. It would have been over in here somewhere probably.
Well, that's one of the parking areas. Okay. And then
or it would have been, there was a old building somewhere over.
This map was taken back when the building was still there, and this is the building that was on.
Yes, Ron Logan was the one who owned like the property, correct? You mentioned that, Mr. Lib, yeah, yeah. Maybe they were on listening. Well. That's a good theory, yeah.
The trail side
right.
of the bridge.
Okay.
So down at
you went this way. I think you went down this way and like it was an underpass or something.
Yep, that's right.
There's authors and people that believe Ron Logan is the one who did it, allegedly, right?
So would he have been there.
Okay.
He's the real Delphi killer.
Which way do you think you would have traveled to get to this building that particular day? Do you remember?
Just that way it loops around. Okay. I don't know the names of the roads or anything. I mean I could show you where I drove, but it just
we're gonna
the road that goes out.
Hopefully we'll go over
basically
that.
The same way that you get to this one, except no, it's further up, and you go down, and it like comes down and goes around somewhere and comes over on the other side.
Okay, very good. Okay. Was it ever an occasion where you might have gone to the park another way? Did you go out here very often? I should ask.
Not like I would say often. I mean, we go out.
They probably did it
together. They go once a month. When they go twice in 1 week. I mean, it was just kind of one of those where when we felt like walking the trail, we go. I mean, I could say we visited it regularly. during the summer months. We didn't really go out there much in the winter. We may have gone out a time or two, but.
Right, okay. So was it ever something was there ever a time that you guys took another path to get out there besides going around this way, or do you remember anything like that?
I think there's a way if you go
Well,
past
that's the thing, is that he passed away, but I know a lot of people think that he was responsible.
where you park
Fortunate.
the farmer's entrance that I was telling you about.
I don't know much about
Here, there's an entrance across
Which
from
way?
a residence
What?
farmhouse. Does that make any
fix
sense?
that. Fix that, girl. I don't
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I know that there's a way that winds around, and you can eventually get back to 200 or whatever road it is. We're off of 200 North, I think it is. It comes out somewhere down there, but we only did that. I think we found that by accident one time. We thought we'd go that way and try to get back, and it was we eventually came out that way somewhere.
Which you should join my Discord. It's really small and personal, and I don't really ever drop the link, but you should join.
Okay. But no, I wouldn't. If we were going to go there, we would go down through
I
town.
post on there, and I'm going to go live too.
Okay, good to know. All right. So let's talk more about what you remember doing that day, remember seeing that day.
Yeah,
Okay. You gave an account to the officer who talked to you. And do you remember how that was prompted, how that happened, that you happened to talk to the officer?
I don't remember if it was the next day or a couple days, but shortly after they were asking
I do believe this is voluntary, and we are going to hear the
for anybody
confession as
that
well.
was there to come in. So I went down. I got home from work, and my wife said, they want to talk, because I had obviously told her that I was there. And said they want to talk to anybody that was down there, may have any information on how much, but I obviously will go down. So we went down to the sheriff's station, and I don't remember who it was, came out and talked to me and said that he would get my name and information, and then
I'll send it.
I was driving downtown for something, and I know that I remember he called me when I was in the car because I pulled over and talked to him. It was a DNR officer, and he asked me if I could come down and talk there, or if I want to meet somewhere. And I don't remember how or why. I think they were really busy, obviously crowded probably. So I was heading down to, it was the stable parking lot down there, and I told him I would just meet him there if that was okay. So he came down, we talked. He looked at my phone, took my phone information, and I think he got some, we took the battery out and everything, and got information off of us. So that's pretty much it. And I gave him the account. Forgive me, it's been years, and I thought about it a lot. As time goes on, it's, like I said, I think I was there probably around noon. It could have been a little before noon or a little after noon. Walked down, back an hour, so probably 1:30, 1:45, depending on exactly what time it was that I got there that day. I just remember walking down the trail, and I had told him that when I was approaching the trail, or the trailhead, I guess is what I call it, there was 3 girls walking off the trail, and I just remember it looking like one of them was probably watching, not babysitting, but watching the other 2 because they looked a little younger, and they looked very similar. I don't know if they were sisters or whatever, but the other one didn't necessarily. But I remember seeing them walking off the trailhead, and I didn't really see anybody. I walked down, like I said, I looked at the water, I walked back, and I sat, somebody could walk behind me, I guess, but I sat on that bench that overlooks the creek bed.
He's not arrested, in October.
And I remember telling him when I left, I remember there being, I think there was 2 vehicles down there on that farmer's entrance that I told you about. And that's why I know I didn't park there, because obviously I wouldn't recall seeing cars there if I parked there.
The farmer's entrance, are we still talking about this area here, or is there some other location here?
I believe it was,
pull-in, like right next to the
correct me
trail,
if I'm wrong, Libby's throat was slashed.
is all I can tell you. There's a pull-in right next to the trail, and a trail actually leads up to the trail.
Yeah, it's hard to see from here, but I think this is what's
Libby.
called the old
Libby.
Mears.
Probably. There was a farmhouse
Or was
across
it
from it, is all I knew.
Right.
And it was like I guess it looked like where you take farm equipment in and out or something, but I know at one point they flagged it that it said no parking, so we didn't park there for a period of time, but.
Did you ever park there before? Anyway?
Yeah.
A lot of times you did. Okay.
I mean, we used to when it wasn't marked.
Mm-hmm.
We did a cleanup down there one time I brought a bunch of Walmart people, kind of a community engagement thing, and we did a cleanup down there. It's the year that they tore down. We tore down that, if you go down, not the High Bridge way, but that one where I sit on the bench.
Yeah.
I believe both of their throats were slashed, if I'm wrong, but there's a lot of controversy too because of the whole Odinist thing, the cops, the police, and the jail, and the whole theory behind that. So there's also that.
Talking about if you go down the hill, there used to be a little shed, a little shack down there, and they tore that. And we were there that day that we tore that down.
Okay. Yeah. Now, you guys did that with Walmart. Was that a local Walmart you worked at?
Lafayette.
Lafayette.
Yeah.
Okay. One on Commerce, or the one on
Commerce.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. So you guys came up and did that. Do you know when that was?
Oh Lord, no. Well,
Was it before or after this?
2006. Oh, it would have been. I wasn't even with. It was what, 17?
Yep. When the girls were out there.
13. So I wasn't even with Walmart at the time.
It is believed and alleged that it was like a ritualistic killing because of like the way that it was outdoors and like the way that there was, I think, the branches of the tree, and like February 14th was like a sacrificial holiday, allegedly body positioning. It's just a theory, but let me know if that's what you think too.
We've already been with CPS. Yeah.
Okay. So sometime in the...
Yeah, it would have been way before. I mean, I went to CBS in, I say 13, so it would have had to been
Or do you think he's just
before
murder?
13.
Okay. So you're out there then working on the trails.
I'm going to say a lot earlier than that because I worked in Chicago, south of Chicago, for a couple of my last years with Walmart when I was actually running that store. So probably around 9, 10 maybe.
Okay. All right. Somewhere around there. So you were working out there in trails. Had you been familiar with the trails before then? Was there a time that you had been out trails before that?
We had walked, after we moved to Delphi, I mean, we started experimenting. I mean, there were trails that we didn't know were there, but, you hear about one and you'd go, and I'm sure by that point, well, obviously I know by that point I knew about them because that's how I don't know how I got associated with the Dan something or other that runs the area. I think it was Dan.
I'm with you, Which.
Run like the 𝗟𝗄 Canal thing.
I'm with you.
And McCain.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't remember how.
He has no guilt, meaning he didn't do it.
I asked him because at Walmart, as a leader, they always want you to be involved in the community, and I mean it's a good thing.
Sure.
But you can also give money to because we brought so many people out for that event for a day, we had so many hours, and we were able to donate money because of that from Walmart to the 𝗟𝗄 Canal Foundation or whatever. So we worked. I guess the question is, I did on the trails before that day. Mm-hmm. And we also worked out at the Carrollton Bridge that day. There's a tow path or something. We picked up some stuff along there too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, makes sense. All right, well, that's good.
So, I sat there for a few minutes and left. And like I said, there were a couple vehicles. I may have told him the exact makes. I'm not sure. I just remember one was like a sedan, and I think maybe one was an SUV. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
Have to look back at what I said that when I interviewed with him.
And that was at you call it farmer's entrance. Those cars were at the farmer's entrance.
Yes, sir.
What about where you parked? Were there?
Yes, if he's talking so casually, like if he was living that day, like which said, would he be in there spilling the beans? He's just acting so nonchalantly. And then it is true that innocent people hire lawyers too. I definitely believe in that. Definitely.
No vehicles were.
I know there were no vehicles where I parked because I don't remember telling him. I mean, if he asked, I didn't see anything there.
Okay.
A lot of people would park at that farmer's entrance because I'm thinking that was probably when they didn't really want you parking there, and that's probably why I didn't park there. But it's much closer to the trails, so a lot of people like to park there. You walk in and you're actually like halfway through the trail. So
No, I think,
you can walk one way
yeah, I
and the
think
other.
innocent people hire lawyers,
I
and
know at one point, like I said, they didn't want you parking there, so we didn't.
So back then, you told, he said his report said old Farm Bureau building. So that be.
I never really knew what that building was. I just remember telling him there was a building there. And if that's where I told him I parked, that's probably where I parked. Because like I said, we would either park. Obviously, the farmer's entrance was always the most convenient, but there was a bridge, small bridge before the blue bridge. I probably, if I got this right. This was Anderson's.
Yes.
So there was a little tiny, it used to be like a one-way bridge. It wasn't even a road anymore. Like, you could either go towards the blue bridge
Or you drive under it too.
Yeah, I think you drive.
Now I follow.
It wasn't, that parking lot wasn't there on the other side, so you didn't, but yeah, you would, you went, like I said, you take this road that forks off coming out of Delphi somewhere, and then you take a right, and it's just a little road, and there's some people that live along it, but then at the end of the road, it goes up to this, like I said, there's like a parking area where people used to park.
I think I know where you're talking
I
about.
think you can't see it on here, but what you're describing
Probably.
is the road that leads up to this parking area that you're talking. It's out of the side of that. Side of the
Sure, it's probably, yeah.
Okay. So, how far out of the bridge did you go that day when you were out there? Do you remember?
How far what?
How far out onto the high bridge?
I have no idea how many feet it is. The way I always know is there's one of those platform things that stick off the side, and I usually, years past, like 9, 10, let's see, 6, 7, between 6 and 10 probably. I've actually been across the high bridge back when it was in a little bit better shape, but somewhere in there, 8, 9, 10, somewhere it started getting pretty rugged and stopped going across it. But for the most part, I didn't go past that one whatever the thing is that sticks out. I'd go out there and kind of look. Like I said, fisherman, I'd look and see if I see any fish or anything, and then I went back the other way.
I think those were.
he did admit he was at the trail. That is also very key in this. But did they maybe refuse to look elsewhere or at anyone else because he did admit that and he was honest?
For back in the day, if the train was coming and you were out there, that you could
help out.
possibly at least get out of the train's way.
Exactly.
I think I would still want to be on it when the train came.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that day I don't remember what year it was, but it was well before 16, 17. I don't know, just decay.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. So if you were parked there, and correct me if I say anything.
The bridge?
Over here, in that building, I'm sorry. So if you're parked there, how did you get on the trail? Where did you walk?
At one point, you either walked down the road, but then at one point they had a trail there. Not a trail, I wouldn't even call it a trail. They had a gravel path that led to the new thing that they were doing. I call it the trailhead. When they started doing all that, there was a trail that would, I think it ran along the road, if I remember right, and then it just cut over to where the trailhead was at. You couldn't really park. I just remember where that path was at, and you'd think you could park there, but it was no parking. So you had to walk. You either parked over here and it was actually closer if you went over here and you could just walk the bridge that way. And if you went this way, it was a little bit further because you walked along the road
So you would normally walk along the road, or was there a path in there?
At one point, I think you walked along the road. Honestly, I don't even remember. Where's the trails here? That's why I said at some point, it was probably after they put that little pathway in that we even parked there. I don't think we ever even used that until they put that path there, and it was just because it was the only way to get to trailhead from that side. And like I said, at one point they didn't want you parking down here at this farmer thing, so they put in a gravel path in, and you would park there. So you either parked over there or you park there and walk down the gravel path. And the path cut over to like where the trailhead thing is.
Mhm.
So I guess what I'm saying is I don't know that we ever parked at that little building, whatever it was, until they laid that gravel path to it. I think we thought that was a new, I guess, designated parking area, and that's when we parked there once in a while. We'd still park over here once in a while. It just depended on which. And like I said, there was times when we parked there on and off whenever they didn't have it posted. They didn't want you parking there. And we probably did a time or two when they did have it posted, but we didn't make a habit of it.
So what, that car that was in your garage, would that have been what you just drove out there that day?
Oh my God. Let me think here. It would have either been that one or our great Ford 500. We kind of switch vehicles back and forth. It's kind of because I've oftentimes worked further away from home, and when I was working in Peru, the car's what do I say? It's a 16. So prior to that, I'd had a little red Ford Focus, and our trucks we get our truck at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So on truck day, I'd be driving over to Peru at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And one day I was driving, and I was tired. I mean, there's often times you'd be tired, but this day I was just so tired, like to the point I almost and should have just pulled over. But I made it over there, and I turned off. Didn't take the highway all the way up. I took the turn off that takes you into the back way to Peru, and made it all the way in town, and literally I fell asleep. And I woke up when my airbag went off. I veered off the road and hit a SUV parked on the side of the road. And literally that's when I woke up. Like I didn't even know. It took me several seconds, if not a minute, to get my bearings and even figure out what had happened. I still didn't know, because when it hit the SUV, it threw it clear up over the sidewalk into somebody's front porch. Like I literally didn't brake at all. I was asleep, so I hit it full speed. So anyway, I get out, and there's not even anything there. I'm like, what did I hit? And there was a person stopped on the other side of the road. Anyway, long story short, they called the police, blah, 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 and I had to get, that's when I bought that black car.
Mm-hmm. The black car being the 16?
The one in the garage.
Okay.
And so I got that car because I have to drive back and forth and something gets good gas mileage. So my point is, I was driving the black car, and then when I transferred and came back to Delphi, I didn't need the gas mileage anymore, and it was a nicer car, so I gave it to my wife. And from that time until earlier this year, I drove the gray car and she drove the black car. Now, if I was going somewhere out of town, a lot of times I would use the black car, depending on how far we're going. The gray car was dependable, but it's just one of those where the longer, I guess, more recently, I started driving, if I was going to go to Lafayette or something for an appointment or whatever, I'd take the black car just because it's more dependable. And
she works for her.
But anyway, and then when...
I don't know. I just feel something is off about this case, very much, other than how brutal it was, but I don't know.
So, during that time period, I drove the
whether he was
Ford
found guilty
500,
or not,
and she
something
would drive the black
off.
car, had her little cat license plate and all that on it. And then when I got her a van, the gray car pretty much had it. And it was either, I had that and a truck as well. I had a truck for, 3-4 years. If I bought it used, and we didn't drive it hardly ever. And it was one of those where get rid of them while they're still worth something. So we traded them out, and I got the van that she drives now. And then I went back to driving black car. So
now, I remember you said you were down to Miami County to see Mexico. Would you have planned to drive the black car because that was a trip out of town?
I wouldn't have planned. No, during that time, it was still, the gray car was still, it's not like the junk car. We bought it brand new. It was a 2006. But I just say in the last, 3-4 years, it's not, the car didn't run well. It's just one of those where it's old enough that, you know, you don't want to get over somewhere. Because usually if I am driving, it's because she's at work and I don't want to end up having to get stranded somewhere. But that was more recently, so that's why I don't know which, it was either the gray or the black one that day. It could have been the black one, could have been the gray one.
Okay.
It was 06 4500.
So then you get on the trails and you say you saw 3 girls. Where was it? You saw the 3 girls?
They were up around the trail. I mean, I didn't like interact with them. It was up around the trailhead somewhere.
So you both
like when I say they were leaving, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'm assuming they were leaving, or they came from down where those cars parked and they were going to go back that way. I don't know.
Okay. And then, did you see anybody else when you were out there? Anybody that stand?
Anybody? Nobody that stood out, I guess. I mean, if I did see somebody, it didn't click with me. And of course, my memory was a lot better when I talked to him that day. I don't remember seeing. Like I told him, there may have been somebody on the bridge or something when I was coming back through, but I didn't. The only ones that I really noticed seeing were the 3 girls.
Okay.
Because I was walking towards them, and I mean, they obviously stood out. And like I said, I remember it looked like an older girl with 2 younger girls.
Okay.
Walking the trail.
Okay.
And I guess I just assumed that she was probably watching them or in charge of them or whatever. It was kind of what I felt like.
Okay. If you thought you saw somebody when you were coming back through from the bridge, where they were on the bridge.
Thank you, Ray.
I don't really remember seeing anybody that day, but I don't know. So if I did see somebody else, they didn't jump out to me or anything else. I don't. Like I said, it could have been people down around the cars, but I don't remember. I just remember seeing a couple cars parked over there. Mm-hmm. Like I said, Dan and SUV or something like that.
Okay. And then when you got back to your car, was there any other cars when you got back to your car?
I don't think so. Well, no, because I would have thought through that now.
Okay.
Or just been mine.
Do you know where you went afterwards when you left there?
I went home that day. I always watched the stock market and trade the stocks.
That was something else that they remember the officer recorded something about the stock market. Tell us about that.
So I just had a individual trading account with 𝐷𝗫Tech originally, and I think it was TD Ameritrade.
He was convicted in a very sus trial, 130 years.
I trade stocks, try to get rich, lose money.
Did that work for you?
On and off it did, actually, but no, it worked really terribly there for a while, and I don't even do it anymore. So that's just too much of a risk.
So did you have a phone or a watch or something you were looking at the stock market on, or?
I think so.
I don't think you should have
on my
been
phone to
convicted.
watch stocks. I don't remember exactly when and how long I had it, but yeah, I had a program that I could, depending on the reception you had, of course. If you didn't have any reception, that wouldn't work. And
was it fairly good out there that day?
And that's honestly, I think that's why I went home as quick as I did, because I wanted to get home and watch it on my computer with my stock tickers and all that stuff. Because I remember I remember doing that. That was like a hobby, I guess, for me, was watching the stock market and looking at charts and trying to predict what something's going to do and make money. So,
yeah, that's way out of my league.
Well, it was mine too. I just didn't realize it was funny.
What were you wearing that day? I mean, you said you put on a jacket. You put on a jacket. And,
blue jeans, and I'm sure I put on a jacket because I think it was still fairly cool that day. I don't think it was super warm. I would have put on a jacket. I don't know.
Remember what kind of jacket you had back then?
I mean,
I've had Carhartt jackets over the years.
Color is your jacket?
The one was blue, the one was black. Probably back then it would have been a black one. Had a hood built into it. So it was just a black.
I thought it was blue.
Zip-up. I don't even think it was a Carhartt. I think it was an off-brand, but it was like a Carhartt. I could have worn that. I've had sweatshirts like what you're on today. Hoodies, jackets. I mean, I've got a little bit of everything. fleet.
Yeah, it was like a
Anything
blue
else you had?
Carhartt,
Headgear?
allegedly, right?
or
When he
anything
went on
like
the
that?
walk.
Wasn't that warm that day, but wasn't that cold either.
Always kept a hat in my coat, so it would have been like a, I don't know what you call them, skull cap, or just not a big fluffy hat, but a small thing.
So, So cap on your head, and anything else you've been wearing besides like what kind of shoes? I mean, not pretty strange to ask a question like that. But what was, the design I probably tell you what kind of tennis shoes I had because I usually make them last a very long time.
Well, I've got shoes that I've had for 10, 12 years probably. It would have been older tennis shoes, or I had military boots that I used to wear, but they just don't fit. I've been out of the military forever, so I had some combat boots in my closet that I used to wear occasionally. I don't know if I was still wearing them then or not. I mean, I haven't worn them in years, but could have had a pair of work boots. I don't know. So probably older tennis shoes, but if it was wet out, sometimes I wear a boot, like a work boot, or like I said, the combat boots, because they held water out pretty well.
Okay, great.
And I may have told him that day what I was wearing, I don't remember.
Do you know what kind of phone you had back then? And you still have that phone, do you?
If I do, it's in the closet somewhere. I'm sure to recycled it by now.
Oh, really?
Wow.
I've had this for my other one died.
This interview is so long after the crime too, right? I feel like that plays a big factor.
What's on me? No. Trying to go where I just went to look at. I don't know, it's been a few years now. Several years, not.
True.
It wasn't, I know that since that time, I know I've gotten this phone. I don't remember when. It's not been a super long time, but it wasn't. I've had it long enough that I don't remember when I got it.
I'm thinking about this case.
Do you have that picture of that car or no?
I don't think I do. Picture of the car on the here we got that. Liquid. Anyway. So a couple things I wanted to ask you after I check my phone, it's just like ringing like crazy. What we would like to do is to be able to confirm some of the information that you've given us so far, to be able to examine your
No, I believe they didn't find any DNA. Correct me if I'm wrong.
phone.
For those of you, Delphi. We're going to deep dive it, but I don't believe they found it.
And sometimes the information on a phone can confirm or, maybe not necessarily confirm information about what somebody is saying.
I believe they found an unknown male at the crime scene.
We have the ability
DNA.
to be able to extract the data from a phone and be able to look at it and be able to tell
That
if
is
somebody was at.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay. Would that be something you would allow us to take care of, do today, and get it done?
How long are you going to have my phone?
Well, we ideally would like to have a phone that you have. When you got that phone, did you take the data from the old phone and move it to the
I
new
have
phone?
no idea. I mean, I know, I always try to save contacts.
Right.
So,
So if you had the phone, like, where'd you get the phone at? What service is it?
I go through 𝗃. It's an online service, and it's, a lot of people don't know about it. It's really inexpensive, and I've had it for years now.
What's it called?
Huh?
What was it called?
𝗃.
King, like TING.
TING.
Never heard of it.
It's online.
Never heard of that.
So you didn't really go to a store somewhere.
I used to, but I for years now we've been with 𝗃. You pay full price for your phone, and they have discounted ones, and so usually you'll pay a couple $100 for a phone, or you can pay $600-700.
No DNA, 130 years. Brian Kober, like, what percentage of DNA was there?
Whichever, but as far as the service,
Just comparing the two.
I mean, I only pay
They're different, but
around $40 a month for 2 phones, and that's pretty much everything.
Your service provider is that
2
𝗃
people,
themselves,
4
or
people,
is it another-
children.
They, like, I think right now it's probably Verizon. It's one of those deals they use. Of course, all of them do that anymore. They use each other's
The big
towers.
corporate towers and
But I think it's like my phone. Some of it depends on what type of phone you have too. Mine is based off of, pretty sure it's off of Verizon right now.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Do you remember what you had back then? 2017.
I know I didn't have this one yet. I don't even know if they were making those yet.
I mean, as far as service.
I don't even know what that is. Which? What is that? If you use 𝗃, let me
Well,
know.
I've had 𝗃. I've had 𝗃
What
for
is it?
several years now.
So they may,
I probably would have had 𝗃.
okay. They may have changed service providers on you. 𝗃 may have used a different service provider.
I don't like, since I've had this phone, I've never had them come out and say, hey, we're changing your provider. It's just I guess kind of the home system that it works off of. Like I said, it's Verizon. I'm trying to think if it's ever been, you hear about AT&T anymore, but it could have been that at one point.
Okay.
I never had it before we lived in Delphi, though, so I know.
Yes, I am
Sure,
covering
yeah.
that one.
Because I always got my phone.
We're going to start deep diving this one, and then I have a few other cases, and then definitely want to cover 𝗠
I work at Walmart, so I get my service plans through them because I got discounts there on.
Pantera.
So I know it's
Thank
been
you.
since I left Walmart, so.
Okay.
I mean, so I went through regular carriers prior, but I've been with 𝗃 forever.
Well, so then what I would like to do, if it's okay with you, would be to have an opportunity to look at the phone and examine some of the data on it. Really would like to get to the phone that you had
That's
back
funny.
then. If you think it's in a closet,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't have to. My wife comes home. She'll know. If we have it, she'll know exactly where it's at.
Okay. All right. So,
I don't really
yeah,
watch
it's
sports.
okay with
I
you.
thought she recycled them, but she may not.
We could start with this phone. We'll be able to extract the data from that if that's okay with you. And I have a form that I read to folks before we get started on doing something like that. And it goes basically like this: you have the right to require that a search warrant be obtained before you search your property. You have the right to refuse consent to a warrantless search. You have the right to talk to a lawyer before you give consent to search. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you. I've read the statement rights. I understand what rights are. I do not want a lawyer at this time. I consent to a warrantless search by the officers of the police department following described property. And
Halfway through, and they're barely telling them.
And authorize these officers to seize any item of data which they consider as evidence. I understand and know what I am doing. No promises or threats have been made to me, and no pressure or coercion of any kind has been used against me. And I would need to have the passcode. Is your phone open, or is it
So
just
you're
passcode, or is it a
no
pattern,
change.
face, or what?
There's a finger thing, and then there's a code override. I guess
Go ahead. Any questions you have, I'll try to answer.
just I don't know. It's sounding more like you're like I'm not going to be somebody's fall guy. I thought we were talking.
I want to help you.
I thought you were trying to
Somebody's
find
fall guy.
what I might have that'd be helpful, but that's absolutely what we're doing.
Everywhere we talk to, we're trying to eliminate them from any suspicion of being involved.
Why does part of me
in this
think
case.
he might be in
So
this?
I get that.
what we want to try to do is
No.
get as much information together to be able to show, okay, we've looked and didn't find anything. So, you understand what I'm saying?
Sure, I get that. I just, like I said, honestly, it amazes me that we're even talking. I mean, it's been so long, and I haven't thought about this much, and it's just like, I don't want to be somebody's fall guy, and we're going to try to make pieces of a puzzle fit somewhere they don't fit so we can close this thing. I get, and I'm not saying you guys, please don't think I'm questioning your integrity. That's not what I'm saying. I just, okay. I mean, I guess that's
Maybe
where I'm
with
at.
maybe
It doesn't
Ron
seem
Logan.
like a simple conversation we're having. It seems more like
Question.
you think I might have done it. So
I understand what you're saying. I completely get what you're saying and how I would feel from your point of view. Okay.
yeah,
But from our situation, what we're trying to do is be able to show what all you were doing that day. Take a look at everything. Make sure that we can show that what you're saying is true. Okay. So that we can be able to say to someone else, whoever's prosecuting this case, look, we looked at Mr. Allen, he's not our guy. And we looked at him because we looked at his phone. I was going to ask you something else too, be able to look at your car and also with your permission,
Total
we'd like to look
suspect
at your
at this
house.
point. Look at your car.
And so all these things are very, very important just to be able to.
no, I get that.
I believe he was arrested shortly.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I mean, if you get to a point where you think that I need further investigating and you want to get a warrant, that's fine. But I'm not gonna have somebody going through my house and everything.
Sure. I just want to be honest.
I just don't. I guess I'm starting to feel more like your main lead or something here, and I'm not gonna do that.
He was arrested on the 26th. We're going to watch the interview from the 13th and the 22nd. So
Well,
it's literally
sir,
right before he got arrested.
Did you understand that because we are so far into this, that I'm sure you see the news, you see state police doing their thing. Well, we
For a great while, yeah.
we at Fairfield County Sheriff's Department, and he's an investigator with the prosecutor's office.
Sure.
We decided to pick through the very beginning of this again.
And I guess
We're talking to everybody that was out there that day and trying to cross the T's, dot the I's. It's nothing more than that.
And I get that part of it.
So there's no fall guy. That's not.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not trying to question anybody's integrity. I just, I guess like I said, at the point that you think I might have actually done this, then if you want to get a warrant, search my house, my car, my orifices or whatever, that's fine. I mean, I don't mind you looking at my phone or whatever, but yeah. I don't think I guess my point is I don't think
We're just asking.
Sure.
Right
I
now,
got you.
just asking.
I understand that.
So.
Very much willing to give up information. And
Yeah, I'm not going to have police out over my house and stuff. That's just not.
That's fine. That's fine.
Oh, my bad. Give me one sec. I don't know why that stopped. Yeah, so October 13th, October 22nd, and then October 20th, those are the interviews, and then October 26th, he gets arrested. My bad. StreamYard's being messing with me. Oh, wrong one. My bad. Oh my God. You're like, really? Okay, here we go.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
So if you were parked there, and correct me if I say anything.
The bridge?
Over here, in that building, I'm sorry. So if you're parked there.
But I always hear
how did you
knowledge
get on
along.
the trail? Where did you walk?
I don't think that's what he said. Did he?
At one point, you either walk down the road, but then at one point they had a trail there.
Finger day?
I wouldn't even call it a trail. They had a gravel path that led to the new thing that they were doing. I call it the trailhead. When they started doing all that, there was a trail that would, I think it ran along the road, if I remember right, and then it just cut over to where the trailhead was at. you couldn't really park. I just remember where that path was at. You'd think you could park there, but it's no parking. So you had to walk. You either parked over here and just, it was actually closer if you went over here and you could just walk the bridge that way. And if you went this way, it was a little bit further because you walked along the road to.
So you would normally walk along the road, or was there a path in there?
At one point, I think you walked along the road. Honestly, I don't even remember. Where's the trails here? That's why I said at some point, it was probably after they put that little pathway in that we even parked there. I don't think we ever even used that until they put that path there, and it was just because it was the only way to get to trailhead from that side. And like I said, at one point, they didn't want you parking down here at this farmer thing, so they had put in a gravel path in, and you would park there. So you either parked over there, or you parked there and walked down the gravel path, and the path cut over to like where the trailhead thing is. So I guess what I'm saying is I don't know that we ever parked at that little building, whatever it was, until they laid that gravel path to it. I think we thought that was a new, I guess, designated parking area, and that's when we parked there once in a while. We'd still park over here once in a while. It just depended on which. And like I said, there was times when we parked there on and off whenever they didn't have it posted. They didn't want you parking there. And we probably did a time or two when they did have it posted, but we didn't make a habit of it.
So what, that car that was in your garage, would that have been what you drove out there that day?
Oh my God. Let me think here. It would have either been that one or our gray Ford 500. We kind of switch vehicles back and forth. It's kind of because I've oftentimes worked further away from home, and when I was working in Peru, the car's what do I say? It's a 16.
Auditory processing disorder.
Prior to that, I'd had a little red Ford Focus, and our trucks we get our truck at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So on truck day, I'd be driving over to Peru at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And one day I was driving, I was tired. I mean, there's often times you'd be tired, but this day I was just so tired, like to the point I almost and should have just pulled over. But I made it over there, and I turned off. Didn't take the highway all the way up. I took the turn off that takes you into the back way to Peru, and made it all the way in town, and literally I fell asleep. And I woke up when my airbag went off. I veered off the road and hit a SUV parked on the side of the road. And literally when I woke up, like I didn't even know. It took me several seconds, if not a minute, to get my bearings and even figure out what had happened. I still didn't know, because when it hit the SUV, it threw it clear up over the sidewalk into somebody's front porch. Like, I literally didn't brake at all. I was asleep, so I hit at full speed. So anyway, I get out, and there's not even anything there. I'm like, what did I hit? And there was a person stuck on the other side of the road. Anyway, long story short, they called the police, blah, 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 and I had to get, that's when I bought that black car.
The black car being the 16?
The one in the garage.
Okay.
And so I got that car because I have to drive back and forth and it gets good gas mileage. So I thought that, you don't want to get over somewhere. Because usually if I am driving, it's because she's at work and I don't want to end up having to get stranded somewhere. But that was more recently, so that's why I don't know which. It was either the gray or the black one that day. It would have been. Yeah, it could have been the black one. Could have been a gray one.
Okay.
It was an 06 Ford 500.
So then you get on the trails and you say you saw 3 girls. Where was it you saw the 3 girls?
They were up around the trail. I mean, I didn't interact with them. It was up around the trailhead somewhere.
So you walked around.
Like when I say they were leaving, yeah.
Okay.
I'm assuming they were leaving, or they came from down where those cars parked and they were going to go back that way. I don't know.
Okay. And then, did you see anybody else when you were out there? Anybody that stand there?
Nobody that stood out, I guess. I mean, if I did see somebody, it didn't click with me. And of course, my memory was a lot better when I talked to him that day. I don't remember seeing, like I told him, there may have been somebody on the bridge or something when I was coming back through, but I didn't. The only ones that I really noticed seeing were the 3 girls.
Okay.
Because I was walking towards them, and I mean, they obviously stood out. And like I said, I remember it being, it looked like an older girl with
I don't believe he got a fair trial,
two
in my
younger
opinion.
girls
Okay,
walking the trail.
okay.
And I guess I just assumed
I know
that
he had
was
confessed.
probably watching them or in charge of them or whatever. It was
And if
kind of
you
what I
thought-
felt like.
Okay, if you thought you saw somebody when you were coming back through from the bridge, where they were on the bridge?
I don't really remember seeing
I just hope
anybody
that they got the
day,
right
but
person.
I don't know. So if I did see somebody else, I didn't jump out to me or anything else. I don't, like I said, it could have been people down around the cars, but I don't remember. I just remember seeing a couple cars. parked
Should have been a
over there.
mistrial. I don't know.
Like I said, Dan and SUV or something like that.
Okay, and then when you got back to your car, was there any other cars when you got back to your car?
I don't think so. Well, no, because I would have thought through that now.
Okay.
We're just been,
Investigation was definitely botched, in my opinion.
Do you know where you went afterwards when you left there?
I went home that day. I always watch the stock market and
You know,
trade the stocks a
that
little.
was something else that they whenever the officer recorded something about the stock market. Tell us about that.
So I just had a individual trading account with Daytech originally, and I think it was TD Ameritrade. I trade stocks, try to get rich, lose money.
Did that work for you?
On and off it did actually, but no, it worked really terribly there for a while, and I don't even do it anymore. So that's just too much of a risk.
So did you have a phone or a watch or something you were looking at the stock market on, or?
I think so. I had a program on my phone to watch stocks. I don't remember exactly when and how long I had it, but yeah, I had a program that I could, depending on the reception you had, of course. If you didn't have any reception, that wouldn't work. And
Was it fairly good out there that day?
and that's honestly, I think that's why I went home as quick as I did, because I wanted to get home and watch it on my computer with my stock tickers and all that stuff. Because I remember what I remember doing that. That was like a hobby, I guess, for me, was watching the stock market and looking at charts and
Does he
trying
seem
to
like a
predict what
murderer
something's
right
doing to
now?
make money. So,
Yeah, that's way out of my league.
well, it was mine too. I just didn't realize it was coming.
What were you wearing that day? I mean, you said you put on a jacket. You put on a jacket. And
Blue jeans, and I'm sure I put on a jacket because I think it was still fairly cool that day. I don't think it was super warm. I would have put on a jacket. I don't know.
Remember what kind of jacket
Probably
you had back
jeans.
then? I mean,
I've had Carhartt jackets over the years.
color is your jacket.
The one was blue, the one was black.
Oh, he does.
Probably
pick
back
the
then
one.
it would have been a black one.
It was
Had
blue,
a
I
hood
believe.
built into it.
We did watch this.
So it was just a black zip up. Anyway, I don't even think it was a Carhartt. I think it was an off-brand, but it was like a Carhartt. I could have worn that. I've had sweatshirts like what you're on today. Hoodies, jackets. I mean, I've got a little bit of everything. Fleece.
Anything else you maybe headgear or anything like that? Wasn't that warm that day, but wasn't that cold either.
Always kept a hat in my coat, so it would have been like a, I don't know what you call them, skull cap, or just not a big fluffy hat, but a small hat.
Didn't he say down the hill? And then I think like Abby or one of them said something like, "Don't leave me." Is that accurate?
Because they held water out pretty well.
Okay, great.
And I may have told him that day was where I don't remember.
Do you know what kind of phone you had back then? And you just found it from there?
If I do, it's in the closet somewhere. I'm sure they recycled it by now.
Oh, really?
Because I've had this for my other one died.
And Libby, did she start recording because they knew something was wrong, or was she just recording to be on Snapchat?
No. Trying to go where I just went to look at. I don't know, it's been a few years
And
now,
don't forget the crime scene photos were leaked as well.
several years, not.
Hey, Triple P, good to see you.
I
Indiana.
wasn't, I know that since that time, I know I've gotten this phone. I don't remember when. It's
Happened
not
in
been a
Indiana.
super long time, but it wasn't. I've had it long enough that I don't remember when I got it.
Do you have that picture of that car or no?
I don't think I do.
Delphi, Indiana.
Picture of the car on the road. Here, we got that one. Liquid. Anyway. So, a couple things I wanted to ask you after I checked my phone, it's just like ringing like crazy. What we would like to do is to be able to confirm some of the information that you've given us so far, to be able to examine your phone. As you're well aware, phones go everywhere with everybody, and they tell a story about a lot of what people do.
Oh yeah, that's
And
when he's like,
sometimes the information on phone can
check my
confirm,
have
or
my
you
DNA.
know, maybe not necessarily confirm information about what somebody is saying. We have the ability to be able to extract the data from a phone and be able to look at it and be able to tell where somebody was at.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay. Would that be something you would allow us to take care of, do today and get it done?
How are you going to have my phone?
Well, we ideally would like to have a phone that you have. When you got that phone, did you take the data from the old phone and move it to the
I
new
have
phone?
no idea. I mean, I know. I always try to
Transfer?
stay in contact.
Right.
So
So if you have the phone, like where'd you get the phone at? What service is it?
I go through Team. It's an online service, and
We
it's
did hear about
a lot
Tim.
of Team for several years now.
So they may,
I probably would have had Ting.
You need to look
they may have
at that.
changed service providers on you. Ting may have used a different service provider.
I don't like, since I've had this phone, I've never had them come out and say, hey, we're changing your provider. It's just
What is that?
I guess kind of the home system that it works off of. Like I said, it's Verizon. I'm trying to think if it's ever been, you don't hear about AT&T
An alarm
anymore,
system?
but it could have been that at one point.
Okay.
I never had it before we lived in Delphi though, so I know, I'm pretty sure because I always got my phone, I work at Walmart, so I get my service plans through them because I got discounts there on. So I know it's been since I left Walmart, so.
Okay.
I mean, so I went through regular periods prior, but I've been with Ting forever.
Well, so then what I would like to do, if it's okay with you, would be to have an opportunity to look at the phone and examine some of the data on it. Really would like to get to the phone that you had
I feel
back
like anytime crimes happen in a small town, it's always bought.
then. If you think it's in the closet,
I
turn it
don't know.
up. I guess.
Actually, I don't have, I mean, when my wife comes home, she'll know. If we have it, she'll know exactly where it's at.
Okay, all right. So if it's okay with you,
She recycled them, but she may not.
we could start with this phone. We'll be able to extract the data from that if that's okay with you.
The
I have
Odinist
a
thing
phone
is
that I
crazy
read
too.
folks, before we get started on doing something like that.
You guys think that's
basically like this, you have the right to require that a search warrant be obtained before you search your property. You have the right to refuse consent to a warrantless search. You have the right to talk to a lawyer before you give consent to search. If you
No DNA, by the way, which is wild.
can't afford a lawyer, one would be appointed for you. I've read the statement rights, I understand what rights are. I do not want a lawyer at this time. I consent to a warrantless search by the officers of the police department following this private property and be your cell phone and motor carrier, and authorize these officers to seize any item of data which they consider as evidence. I understand and know what I am doing. No promises or threats of
Murdering Abby and Libby.
of any kind have been used against me. And I would need to have the passcode. Is your phone open, or is it just a passcode, or is it a pattern, face, or what?
There's a finger thing, and then there's a code override.
Mm-hmm.
I guess
Go ahead. Any questions you have, I'll try to answer.
just I don't know. It's sounding more like you're like I'm not going to be somebody's fall guy. I thought we were talking.
I want to help you.
I thought you were trying to find
So
what I
everybody
might have that'd be helpful, but that's absolutely what we're doing.
everyone we talk to, we're trying to eliminate them from any suspicion of being involved in this case.
Sure.
So
I get that.
what we want to try to do is get as much information together to be able to show, okay, we've looked and didn't find anything. So you understand what I'm saying?
Sure, I get that. I just, like I said, honestly, it amazes me that we're even talking. I mean, it's been so long, and I haven't thought about this much, and it's just like I don't want to be somebody's fall guy, and we're going to try to make pieces of a puzzle fit somewhere they don't fit, so we can close this thing. I get, and I'm not saying you guys, please don't think I'm questioning your integrity. That's not what I'm saying. I just, okay. I mean, I guess that's where I'm at. It doesn't seem like a simple conversation we're having. It seems more like you think I might have.
I don't know. I've also read a lot on the police chief from Delphi, Nate Lamar, having something to do with this. We'll elaborate that on a deep dive, but.
So I understand what you're saying. I completely get what you're saying and how I would feel from your point of view. Okay.
Yeah.
But from our situation, what we're trying to do is be able to show what all you were doing that day. Take a look at everything. Make sure that we can show that what you're saying is true. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that we can be able to say to someone else, whoever's prosecuting this case, look, we looked at Mr. Allen, and he's not our guy. And we looked at him because we looked at his phone. I was going to ask you something else.
And I believe he kind of got singled out because someone did a tip, right?
We'll be able to look at your car, and also
someone gave a tip.
With your permission, we'd like to look at your house. And so all these things.
And he did too.
Very, very important.
He said that he saw
No, I get that.
Correct me.
I mean, yeah, I'm not going to. I mean, if you get to a point where you think that I need further investigating and you want to get a warrant, that's fine. But I'm not going to have somebody going through my house and everything.
Sure. I just want to be honest.
I just don't. I guess I'm starting to feel more like your main lead or something here, and I'm not going to do that.
Well, we just started. Did you understand that because we are so far into this, that I'm sure you see the news, you see state police doing their thing. Well, we
for a great while, yeah.
We at Kirkland Sheriff's Department, and he's an investigator with the prosecutor's office.
Sure.
We decided to pick through the very beginning of this again.
And
we're talking to everybody that was out there that day and trying to cross the T's, dot and I's.
I also believe he was cleared and then reopened the investigation into
It's
him.
nothing more than that.
And I get that part of it.
So there's no fall guy.
I don't know if that's true, but I read something about that.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not trying to question anybody's integrity. I just, I guess like I said, at the point that you think I might have actually done this, then if you want to get a warrant, search my house, my car, my orifices or whatever, that's fine. I mean, I don't mind you looking at my phone or whatever, but yeah. I don't think I guess my point is I don't think
we're just asking.
Sure, right. I'm just asking.
I understand that.
So,
and it is completely possible that innocent people can be convinced to confess to heinous crimes that they didn't commit. I do believe that.
It is what
Two things could be true at once.
So yeah, I'm not going to have police out going through my house and stuff. That's just not.
That's fine. That's fine.
News leaks and somebody here. I just don't need that kind of.
Well, we're trying to keep this very discreet because we do understand what you're talking about. It came out of the 𝗟𝗄, which is not unlike
I understand.
So, we're not interested in making your life or anything like that. We're trying to get these things figured out.
Sure.
Get it taken care of. So, sure. With that, so you said you would let us look at the phone?
Sure.
Okay, great. And you help us get to the other phone?
I'll
Wow.
see if I can find it.
Okay, all right. So
He's like, yeah,
we'll go
look.
back to that form, and we'll get this phone back to our team, which can do that. So I covered this with you. What kind of phone is it? Can you tell?
It's a Google something or other. So Google.
I believe there's a lot of evidence that we don't
Moving on.
know about and didn't hear about.
Facebook, okay. It's a black phone, okay. And what is the passcode?
2045.
The state frame
Okay.
Richard Allen.
All right, great. So I read this to you, so if you have any questions, do you have any questions about your rights about being able to do this? Or we just need your signature to verify that you understood everything?
You know what? Let me talk to my wife before I do anything.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't want to do this because I'm cool with it, but at the same time, I don't want her to get pissed off because I don't know.
It's okay.
We watch TV shows and stuff, and I just, like, I don't want to be associated with this thing, obviously, more than anybody else does. And am I an angel of a person? No. I mean, I'm like anybody else, and I guess I don't want you, maybe I don't want you looking at every website I visited, and so I
That he's not an angel of a person. Interesting choice of words. So Abby was 13, and I believe Libby was 14, and they went missing when they went on a hike. They saw Richard Allen. He said something like, down the hill. Their bodies were discovered in a wooded area nearby. Their throats had been cut. The way their body was placed. A lot of people thought it was like ritualistic. Those are just theories.
I'll talk to my wife, and if she's cool with it, then we'll do it.
Can I, I'm going to get something, and I'm going to show you something just really quick. I'll be right back.
I think he's kind of lost. But do you think he's guilty?
Sure, do you want to know?
Patty.
No, I'm good.
Curious.
One of these is colder than the other. So,
He's kind of rambling.
but no, we're trying to give you a hard time.
I understand.
Again, we're just trying to get these things taken care
And I
of
get
for
that.
a long time. So,
I get that. But, I guess that's, not that I ever question anybody's integrity, but
that's fine.
it's just, I know that it's at a point where, I mean, you want closure. You want closure for a family, and
Wow.
and I'm not, again, I'm not, I don't know you from Adam.
No, it's fine.
I just, but you also can't say it's never happened where pieces of it, and we find a piece that's close to fitting and make it fit, and I just don't.
I just want you to see why we came to you. This is from the beginning.
Okay.
It's basically tip 74.
Okay.
There's a lot of details.
I understand.
I don't want you to think that we're just randomly coming after you.
And you've been,
Oh, I don't think you're coming after me. It's not that.
you've been completely honest with this. You said, well, what the information you can see right there, Mr. Allen was on the trail between 1330 and 1530.
That's true. I mean, I don't think that.
Time that was.
I know I wasn't out there that late. I don't know what I told him that day, but I know I wasn't out there till 3:30 or so. Yeah, it's 3:30.
That would be right around 1:30.
They were stripped, I believe, and then I believe their throats were cut. Libby had more cuts, and there was like a diagram allegedly, and they were, like I said, they were both found nude. I believe Libby was the one who fought back, depending on the handprints on the tree. Like I said, there's a lot of details, and we can assume and fill in the blanks. But I believe it was said that Abby was killed first too, but I'm not sure if that's fact.
Until 3:30.
No, I'm saying when I left. 1:30 would have been more of the time I would have left.
Okay.
Not gotten there. Because the only reason I remember is because I know I left around 11 o'clock or so because they were getting ready to go do lunch. And I wasn't going to do the lunch thing with everybody, so
And
I
you
just
told
went
us.
home and
All
I was
right.
going to watch the stock market. Thought it was a nice day, and I'd go take a walk on the trail before I get.
Yeah. So things we're asking you is nothing any different than we ask anybody else around there.
Yeah, and that's doing all the stuff you told us.
Delphi
and There's
case.
nothing inconsistent here.
Hello, Christine and Aaron.
I guess I was actually watching my stock, so it must have been working. You asked about that.
Be too calm and at ease for your liking, Smog Dog. No, don't cry.
Vehicles parked on High Bridge Trailhead. It wasn't.
No, they didn't.
It was that
They didn't.
farmer's pull.
They didn't want to stream the trial because allegedly his health or whatever they said, but they should have because we needed to see what was going on.
Different people call.
Sure, gotcha. And you have the information off my cell phone.
Mhm.
So,
Yes, that's what I'd really like to know, that cell phone in particular.
But again, that's why we're here.
sure, and I get that.
We're trying to put, if there's any pieces you missed or
Mhm.
anything that you can recollect.
Sure, and that's honestly, that's what I thought this was. And I mean, there's nothing else I can really think of, but as far as searching my house and my phones and like,
Well, let me say,
And also, like, I believe whoever carried out this crime, they were very comfortable with the scene and they were comfortable without worrying about being seen, moving around, cutting down branches, tossing evidence in the creek, spending time moving bodies around. You have to think about all of those details too. And they did it without leaving that much physical evidence. None of Richard's.
I haven't even got to that yet. I just want to let you know those things.
He is in jail 130 years.
I'm not necessarily asking right now.
how they've been helped.
Eliminating people.
What we do is we can say for sure.
Like,
okay,
why?
sure, and we didn't.
How do they do
find
that?
it.
Annoying.
Okay, that's how we
130 years.
estimate the successfulness.
And I guess, I see that. So,
Yeah.
I guess when you say progress, it's like we're still where we were. And I'm not saying you haven't made progress.
No.
You obviously have. I'm just saying, like, we're here because we haven't found the guy that did this. And I'm not going to turn into that guy. I'm not going to, I don't want to become the target of something because, like I said, we watch a Dateline every week. We watch everything, and it's one of those, I mean, there's nothing that's going to tie me to it, and I'm not worried about that. To have people come and start searching my house and stuff.
There's nothing
I mean,
that's
my
going
wife
to tie me
doesn't
to
even know I'm here
it. There
talking
wasn't.
to people. So,
Wild.
but I mean, I can look for the phone. I'll talk to her, and I mean, obviously, anytime that you feel that you need that information quicker, I know you can get it. It's not like you can't get it if you want it. I'm not an idiot.
What information would it be?
Searching my house, searching my phone, searching my...
Well, and again, the reason I said search your house and your car would be to be able to say to someone, look, we did actually take care of this information. We know for sure, okay, what was there, what we found, and that gives us the answer we need for a particular situation that we're dealing with.
Sure.
Okay, it doesn't mean that we're trying to put anybody in a box or anything like that. I know you brought up several times wanting to be able to resolve the case. No, what we want to do is be able to find the person who...
Absolutely. That's what I mean.
Not try to put anybody in that box that wasn't responsible for what happened.
I understand that.
So, and I'm
not saying you just want to label somebody, but, you know, I had nothing to do with it. I haven't been a part of this investigation. I mean, I have with what I get, and now I'm obviously you question me further, and that's fine. But
sure,
it's a horrible thing.
Wait, when I said the branches and someone, having all that time and knowing they can get away with that, or maybe the branches were cut prior to the unalivings and the area was chosen and prepared. And I believe the branches weren't even collected until like weeks later. So maybe, like I said, Alan didn't do it alone, which can explain the different eyewitness accounts. We're going to deep dive this for sure. And I agree. Thanks, 𝗵𝐶, for explaining that. And no DNA at the scene or on the girl's right. Sounds corrupt to me. I agree, Patty.
And I mean, I obviously I don't want to be any more involved in it than what I have to
Yes,
be.
Miranda.
If I thought I had something that was useful, by all means, I'd give you anything I had. I just don't know what's going to be useful to you.
Sure, I understand. So that's one of the reasons why we ask for the phone, is to be able to nail down that aspect of it, especially the phone that would have been involved in that situation, which would be the phone you gave the information on to the officer.
Sure.
And also, something that would be very important to look at would be your car, because when somebody does something that's involved in something like this,
Sure.
there might be traces of biological information and data that, or substances that were left behind inside the vehicle. So
Sure,
that makes sense. So would it be helpful for us to be able to look at your car and be able to determine if there'd be anything like that inside of it forensically? Okay, forensically means that we have a close examination of the car.
I know that.
And then again, like everything else that we're telling you, then we can say, we look at Rick, we looked at his car, there's nothing in his car. That's the point. That's the whole point of everything.
Yeah, this is how let's go, guys. I'm going to talk to my wife before I do anything. This affects her as much as it affects me. And I know you guys don't talk to people. I don't hear a bunch of rumors out there, but I don't want anybody knowing that I talk to you guys.
Oh, I understand.
It's just not
And
something
we don't do that.
Sure.
That's not something we want to do at all. So we don't just go out and randomly talk to people.
Was it staged when the bodies were moved?
So with the phone, you say you want to take some time, more time to think about it.
Right, Patty.
A couple things that I wanted to ask you about. Would you mind, sir, if we stepped out for a little bit and came back? That'd be okay with you? Maybe just a few minutes right back.
And then there was like a phone found underneath the shoe too. Definitely pre-planned, I think. I'm gonna fast forward to when he's alone.
Why it's important. Why it's important. We get your cooperation. One of the things that you told us was that you had driven out there in your car, and you think you've driven out there in your car. We have a picture of your car that shows it was going out to the trails that day.
And if a phone was found at the scene, like why wouldn't the perps destroy the phone or like bury it? Surely they knew there was some incriminating like evidence. And if it was ringing during the killing, wouldn't that have concerned them and that it may attract others in the area? There's a lot of questions I have over this.
Okay, and now one of the important things for us is to help understand exactly where you were at that day, what was going on. You've already told us that you were out there. That's really, really important.
Sure.
Okay. Yes. So with that, what I wanted to do is try to help you work through this whole thing. I'm going to be completely honest with you. We've been able to talk to your wife, talk to your daughter already. Well, this is all happening. We had time to do all of that.
Sure.
And we've heard that you had some issues, even at one point put a gun in your mouth, that you were going to do something to yourself, maybe 3 years or so.
Yeah.
And, look, there's a lot here that we need to get clarified, okay? As you well know, we have pictures of an individual who was on the bridge. And to some great degree, you described that individual.
And like, what was the motive? Was it just Abby and Libby were at the wrong place at the wrong time? Just like a sick fantasy? Or staged and others were involved?
Yourself is wearing blue jeans,
corrupt law enforcement.
of the same color as that. It described a hat It's hard to see the shoes, but they're kind of brown. Okay? And this is a picture
Sexually motivated
of
crime?
of one of the girls.
Okay.
I understand that. And the question needs to be, is that you?
If it was taken with the girl's phone, that is absolutely, I mean, it's not me, but I never have met these girls before, so even if I thought it looked like me, if it was taken with the girl's phone, there's no way it could be. I've never met them. I've never seen them.
All right, so that's
And
where
as far, well, and let's just stop there. As far as my psychological well-being,
okay.
it has been, I've been dealing with that for years. It's not something new. It's not something because I went out and killed girls. Now I've got psychological problems. Have I had issues? Did I stick a gun?
Or were they lured there, the girls?
I know how a gun works, and I wasn't going to shoot myself that night. It was probably a cry for help that night.
Oh,
You've obviously
wow.
talked to my wife.
Wife himself?
So it is what it is. But I know that you haven't talked to anybody that knows me, has been around me, my family, not my family, that thinks that I may have been involved in this. I wouldn't believe it.
This image, this person right here, he's wearing like a Carhartt jacket, just like you just told us.
Okay.
Wow.
He's wearing the same clothing that you just told us. We just need to know what happened. Why?
Sure. I mean, I said I was wearing blue jeans. Now, I think blue jeans is a pretty common thing that people wear. And I said I was probably wearing a black or a blue coat. It could have been a Carhartt, a zip-up with a hoodie in it. I've had black ones. I've had a blue one, or a blue one and a black one. I guess, you know, you're taking what I told you I was wearing and saying that that's me in it.
So the other kind of,
And you're serious. You literally want me to, like, that is you want me to say that that's
Thank you, Nameless, for gifting.
My
Appreciate
car?
that.
We looked at
it matches everything. That is your car.
okay. Well, I'm saying that picture, it's like, okay,
Yeah, no, that there's
I'm
zero
with you,
doubt
Patty.
that you.
I don't even, okay, that's
We're
fine.
just showing you what we have and why we need to eliminate it. That's,
Well, sure.
I haven't deep dived this, but we will this week. But from the beginning, I thought something was very off with this. So I agree with your comment. The pics they have of him is blurry and standoffish.
Sure. All right. Well, we're all done here.
Here's what
Unless you want to arrest me. That's fine.
Here's what I want to say to you at this point. You know, look, we have a lot of information here that we need clarification.
Sure.
And that's exactly why we're talking to you at this time.
Well, and that's
And
fine.
so what we want to do is to be able to take a look at your cell phone, take a look at all the data, help us out. That would be great. Or, you know, conversely, in this situation, we've already talked to your employer, and we already know that and we haven't told them what we know about this. We haven't said anything about that. But they say you're a nice guy. And I believe you're a nice guy.
Oh, okay.
Look, you know, I have no reason.
Now we say that.
Picture for you. We went to your house.
So you got a job to do. And I get
we
that.
went to your house.
You sit down here and
We went to your house this
we're
morning.
having a conversation and
We went to your house this morning, and what we did was knock on the door. You let us inside. We had a nice conversation, and that's great. That's really positive. You came here to the center and drove down. You rode in the car with us, and we had a chance to sit down and talk. And not a fellow who is, I think, a mean fellow. You know, you're not the kind of guy that would go out and do something malicious to somebody. So a lot of what we're trying to get figured out here today, right now, is exactly what's going on here. Why is this information showing us one thing, but then you're telling us another? What is it showing you? What is
I feel like the intelligence, like, was he smart enough to commit a double murder in a relatively small amount of time and leave no evidence behind, and then be stupid enough to come back and place himself at the crime, keep the clothes, and continue to live and work and do whatever, go to CDS? I don't know.
I'm just saying that is my car. I told you I could have been driving that car.
I agree, Patty. I'm with you 100%.
I don't know what it is but this seems to have taken a turn, you know. You're sitting here and you're talking to me and you're asking me things, and I get that.
most people,
But now it's turning into,
most people have wanted to be eliminated from this.
well, sure.
That's what. That's
I don't want to be included to begin with. So until the point that you have something that tells you that I did this and you want to subpoena or arrest me or something, I've got nothing to worry about. So I'm not real concerned here, but your attitudes towards me have definitely changed, and I don't like the fact that, you know, it feels more like I'm being interrogated, and so then you're going to tell me that you've already talked to my wife and my daughter and stuff. Like, how straightforward is that? You know?
It's an interrogation.
What would you, okay, let's turn everything around. Tell me what you would do differently if you were in our situation. You had this information. How would you react? What would you do? You do the same thing that we're doing right now.
What information is it that you have? You have that I was out there, and I told you from the very beginning that I was out there.
Yes, you did.
I didn't hide it. Did you see this guy?
Wow.
I didn't know.
Okay.
I told you. I see the only person that I clearly
Would you confess to that and admit to that if you were guilty?
remember seeing that, and
Like,
this
I
is from
saw
the day,
them.
I mean, this is the next day. The only people or person that came into my mind were those 3 girls that I seen.
Richard, we're not upset with you, not mad at you, anything like that. We're just trying to get to the bottom of this, okay? No,
What church do you go to? How is that not an interrogation at that point, right? Frederick says this is a very remote area. Multiple people saw him in the area. This guy is guilty. The only thing that people in Delphi are doubting that he acted alone. I agree with that. I don't think he acted alone.
you know,
I don't
I'm
think he
not
acted
here to give you a hard time. I'm just here to try to get this situation straightened out. And what we want to do is simply get to the truth. What would help us get to the truth is being able to look inside of some of the things you're talking about, okay?
And I get that.
Okay? And maybe
Then on the other side of things,
here.
sure. And on the other side of things, if I thought I had something that was going to help you, that would, you know, what do I have that's going to help you?
Okay. Well, I have
Frederick, I very much agree with your comment. What people hopefully understand is that Abby and Libby would go and walk these tracks all the time. He didn't just happen to stumble upon them. I agree. And like, they're little teenagers, you know. I was doing stuff when I was a teenager. We don't know. Both of them are leading him to think that he did a lot of the crime. Right.
some questions we can go through here, if you don't mind. And I think we're done. We have some other questions here that we could go through here. And what I could do, want to hear questions? What does that hurt? Some of the questions that we can ask you are simply this. And I don't want you to feel like these questions all sound strange.
That's
and
Patty.
it'd be very
We all have our own
even
theories.
confusing in nature. But I want you to understand I'm not trying to offend you.
I'll
Keep your name list.
I get to help us out by getting to a little bit farther along in this matter.
So, I don't know. Like I said, you went, you talked to my daughter and my wife. What do you want? I can't tell you what happened.
Sorry that.
I can tell you that if that picture was, I mean, you can sit and take anybody and say, well, if they were wearing this and wearing that, that could be them. If that picture was taken from one of the girls' phones, here's the problem with that. Because I've never met them. No, but listen, here's the problem with that. You know why you can put a lot of people and
why didn't you ask the lawyer?
Coat, but you know what the difference is?
I'm sure.
No, you said you were there. Well, sure I did. We have people that saw you. Okay.
Ricky said you were out on the bridge yourself.
There aren't that many people that saw me. I mean, I'm sure I didn't miss that many people. If they walked behind me, I guess.
You said that you were out on the bridge, this bridge, yourself that day around the time when this happened.
No, I didn't.
You said you walked out onto the bridge. When we talked to you earlier, you said that you walked out to about the first platform or within that area down the bridge. That's what you told us. So we know that you were on the bridge.
Of course I was.
Okay.
And I told you that.
And with that, you know, we can say that, is this person you? That's the question. Is that person you?
Why are
That's
you
the question
asking
we have to
him?
answer.
That's him.
Sure.
If you know it's him.
So if that person is you, we know this person followed the girls all the way to the other side of the bridge and then told them to go down the hill.
Followed. I don't even know what you're talking about. Like you're saying, don't.
Okay, so the bridge here, okay, this is the girls walking towards the other side of the bridge from where the trailhead is at.
The other side.
The other side of the bridge. And this person followed them all the way to the other side of the bridge where the,
Yeah. So let's just,
and told them to go down the hill.
okay, so let me stop here. I don't
Delphi.
appreciate you trying to talk me into this.
No.
This is what I said. You're trying to change my words around. I told you I was on the bridge. Now you just told me this is the trailhead side of the bridge.
Over here on this
And
side.
you're saying I told you I walked on the bridge.
You said you walked on that bridge that day.
And that first trestle is somewhere,
Back there. Okay.
it's somewhere over there.
Help me understand. Okay. You came out this far. We know that
I did.
You
I
came
didn't go
out,
out that
you
far
came
that day.
out, you came out that far is what you told us.
I'm not going to tell you. I can't tell by that how far out I was.
Okay.
I'm just telling you. You're saying that's me, and you're saying this is the far side of the bridge. I don't even go out that far anymore. I haven't for years.
Okay, for years, but back then, that was in 2017, okay? And the question is this you?
No.
Okay, so you're telling me that this person was out there on the bridge and wore the same clothing that you have
Oh,
on that
Jesus.
day, but you didn't see
You
them out
can't
there.
tell that's a black Carhartt coat, a blue Carhartt coat, a pullover. I told you I could have been wearing this.
The two kinds of clothing you said you wore that day was either a black Carhartt coat or a blue Carhartt coat. Okay, you said you have blue jeans, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've had other jackets.
Okay, so put yourself in my chair.
I guess what I'm saying is I'm not going to tell you I wasn't wearing a black Carhartt that day. I told you I could have been. I don't know if that's a black Carhartt. And if it is, it's not mine, it's his.
And you said you have a hat. You normally wear a skull cap that's covered.
I said I carry one.
Carry
So
one.
if I was wearing one, it would be like a skull cap or a smaller type of hat or something.
Okay. So this is the situation we're at, okay? Basically this. Either you were out there to do this to the girls, or you were out there to be able to introduce the girls to somebody else.
Okay. Good luck finding anything that
If
went
that's a theory that there was somebody else, that already says
in
enough
that
to me.
direction. I mean,
They already
it's not
think there was others
me. You're not
involved.
going to make me believe it's
Right.
me. You're not going to find anything that ties me to those murders. So I'm not really that concerned. You know, you went from trying to, I don't know what you want to say, get my trust and then slowly lure me into telling you I killed somebody and I'm not going to do it. You know, I don't know where this changed course.
I'm not trying to give you a hard time, really not. I just want you to put yourself in the situation where we as police officers are looking at all the evidence that we have and what you've told us right now, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not trying to give you a hard time, just want to make sure that we get everything taken care of here. That's why we wanted to look at the things that we wanted to look at.
And that's not going to happen now. I mean, like I said, we're done here. So arrest me or take me home.
Thank you,
I understand.
Declan. Well,
So
Arrest me or take me home. I'm done.
these,
This is stupid.
okay, so that day, that's your phone. So on that day, you went out there on the bridge, and that you were wearing the same clothing that basically the same clothing that this person here is wearing.
That's what you think. I don't know how you can tell that that's a black Carhartt coat, which is what I told you, a black or blue Carhartt coat. Never mind. This is ridiculous.
wow.
You're trying to tell me that I gave you a description of this guy and I didn't. I mean, we all looked at this thing for months and years, and to me that doesn't even look like a Carhartt coat.
He is adamant.
We can't say it's not, can you? I mean, neither one of us can.
You're right.
Can't say it's not. I mean, we can't say that it's not a Carhartt coat.
We can't say that it's him and
that
that
hat
it's
isn't
his.
some of the one that you was.
How did he get
had at one
130
point.
years and a shoddy
So-
trial?
Okay. With all those things in view.
You've lost my trust.
Thank you,
I'm not
England.
going to talk to you anymore. This is stupid. Now you pissed me off.
Well, I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
And I have,
So let's get, are you arresting me?
well, I really try. I'm gonna try to get
Are you
this thing worked
arresting
out.
me?
Okay.
Finally.
I'm trying to get this thing worked out.
I would have been like,
All right,
can I get a lawyer?
You've always been pretty late. Thank you. You're an asshole.
I didn't know he said that. Okay, that was wild. And that was just part 1. We're going to watch part 2 tomorrow, and then there's some audio calls. So again, Tom Webster, I'm going to link him in the description. He got this content. Make sure you check him out. I'll link him in the chat as well. Thank you, Nameless, for gifting. I appreciate that. This is wild, and we're going to deep dive this. Right, semen samples off the girls, and none of them matched Richard's DNA. I know. It's crazy. It's so crazy. Thank you for being here. I really enjoyed this. I have not been following this case on my channel, so we're going to deep dive it. And if you're new to the deep dives and new to my channel, we cover all true crime. We deep dive, get all the documents, all of the good stuff. And then we do Melly After Darks for fun and after dark. Yeah, they are. I agree. Yeah. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. Make sure you sub up. Make sure you hit the like button. I will be live tomorrow night, and I hope you guys can make it. I'm excited to start deep diving the Delphi case. I'm a little late, but it's never too late to cover these true crime cases. So I appreciate you guys for being here. Shout out to all the mods. Yes, thank you, Patty. Melly After Dark. We love Melly After Dark. Yeah, I know. I love it too. So I hope you guys sub up. Make sure you come to the After Darks because they are live, but then they go members only. So if you miss it, you have to be a member. If you're there, you're going to have some fun. But during the day, and usually my earlier streams are all true crime. So I appreciate you guys for being here. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to Sassy After Dark. That's a good one, Patty. I like that. Shout out to all my mods for being here. I love and appreciate you guys. And I will see you tomorrow night. Make sure you are here. We're going to follow part 2 and phone calls to this case, and then we'll start deep diving it this weekend. So I appreciate you guys for being here. Bye.
Try to hide away, so all they do is work. But nobody can hide when she gets a hold of that paperwork. So don't you dare come in here acting like a jerk. Dance might make her dance, but new court docs will make her wanna twerk. Dark hair shining in the Cali sun. Melly on the case, so no point in trying to run. You Sims can ask for feet pics, but you getting none. It's crime o'clock with Melly, let's have some fucking fun. So if you're feeling for true crime, like it's a drug, Crime o'clock with Melly is your motherfucking plug. Going so hard on criminals, they'll call their mama for a hug. She's finding out all the stuff they try to sweep under the rug. Dark hair shining